Hey everyone, all right, let's jump into this. Another word for word Bible comic. This time it is from the Book of Esther. Esther was another book that was a little bit on the thin side, more of a traditional sized comic book. Let's take a quick look at the front cover. This was the only one I purchased from Amazon because I couldn't find this one from my local bookstore, and unfortunately it didn't survive the shipping and handling stage very well. It got a little cooked on the top here, but overall it came pretty well okay. A little bit of damage. I don't know if you can see that, but I did find this one interesting. It had the name of the artist on the front, which so far all the other ones just had the NIV logo on it, so I found that to be interesting. So they have an introduction and once again just descriptions of what you can expect and another example of a panel of what it would look like. But yeah, here we go. You can just see there's no shortage of color in this. What a tremendous art style. I've really appreciated Simon's art style so far. Colorful and really well drawn. A lot to be desired. I read this one. I breezed by it in half an hour. It wasn't too bad. It went pretty smooth. I haven't read the Gospels yet. They're about twice the size or even bigger, so I imagine it would take well over half an hour. I'd maybe an hour and a half to read it all. So you can really tell how big and long the noses are on all the characters. They really want to focus on the accuracy of what the characters could look like and what they worn. It is interesting, again, the speech bubbles, the font they use. I don't necessarily have a problem with it. They just feel a little bit on the small side, but I can still read them clearly. When it comes to the description boxes and the narration, these yellow boxes, clearly it is almost identical of what you'd expect from any traditional comic book, so I'm glad they kept that the same. And sometimes it is nice to have a different font from both. Even though it's pretty clear, you can tell what's the difference between a speech bubble versus a descriptive box. You can clearly tell the difference, but it is nice when a font change sort of helps differentiate that. So here we go. We have Esther here. Clearly she's being recruited. There's a pretty good picture of what Esther looks like right there. She, along with other women, go through a process of making her look as beautiful as possible. Clearly they match exactly what the Bible is saying of what she sort of went through. And again, I just love these large panels where they're not saying anything. It really just allows the reader to come to their own interpretation of what the pictures look like. As you can see now, she's made queen and just looks gorgeous and stunning. And Mordecai obviously played a major role in this story, which if there was ever a moment, it was definitely how Mordecai went from basically this low-class person to just being treated like absolute royalty and having a position of power. And it was really cool to see like Esther and Mordecai really work together, and they never, even though Esther found this incredible amount of fame and popularity and beauty that was bestowed upon her, she never lost touch with Mordecai. They always stayed in touch, and Esther didn't let her fame or power get to her head. If anything, it was used for a force of good to save her people. Just a really beautiful story, and these panels just flow really well. I don't really have any gripes about it. I mean, yeah, if there's any artistic interpretation, like clearly there's this speech bubble, whether it's swearing, however you want to take it. I mean, that clearly wasn't in the Bible, but that can obviously be forgiven. Yeah, here we go. Here's the sweet justice happening. Yeah, he's about to be hanged in a very, very unique way. I've never seen anything like that before, where it looks like he's impaled, or like I've just never seen that before. Wow. And so high off the ground. Now, this is a perfect example where it'd be nice to read the Bible and just see if there's more detail on that. I think they strike a really good balance in having the right amount of words and not too much, not too little. And they still give the opportunity to have panels where there's no words and lets the story breathe a bit. And this is exactly why there's a rating system. You have stuff like this where a person's being completely impaled with a spear and with blood on it. They warn people that there is going to be violence, but I know it's good that they don't go out of their way to glorify it, which is much appreciated. They again, I think if I'm appreciating this Bible series, it's the balance that it strikes. And again, they have lots of reading on the back end here. So for example, who is Azurus? I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. Drawing Hadassah, Esther, and Haman, Mordecai. Lots of words here. So lots of, for a thin book, there's still plenty of reading material here. I think that's what I'm appreciating about too. There's a learning component of this. They're not just telling a story, but they're giving a lot of backstory too. Yeah, so just out of curiosity, the rating was 12 and older, so it's okay to see that kind of violence. But yeah, there you have it. Yet another edition of the Word for Word Bible comic, a fairly newer series that is slowly being released, so I just thought I'd bring it to your guys' attention.